Was I dead? I didn't know. Was I alive? It was hard to tell. What is the difference between these two? Is there even any? I was breathing. I was bleeding. I was in indescribable pain. Therefore, I had to be alive, right? Somehow, though, I didn't feel alive. My body was beaten. Badly. My spirit? Broken beyond repair. My senses? Frozen, unresponsive. My tears on my bloody face? Foreign tears? Not mine. I was here and, at the same time, I was absent. As if I experienced everything from a distance that wasn't too short, but not too long either. As if this was a series of tragic events happening to someone else, while I was simply condemned to watch, floating aimlessly around into what could only be described as nothing. The only thing holding me to place and not letting me drift away from myself completely was my baby. I was 7 months pregnant after 2 decades of trying. I called her a miracle baby, and she really was a miracle, defying all odds and nesting in my belly when all medical examinations showed I would never be able to conceive. I had begged them to spare me, to spare her. I had pleaded with them until my throat closed up, but they only laughed harder, like monsters. Exactly like monsters. The worst kind of them that preys on human suffering. I don't know how long the attack lasted. It seemed like forever to me. I only know they left before dawn, joking and teasing each other, while I remained on the floor, motionless, a naked corpse that occasionally drew in breaths. And the morning came, and a neighbor noticed the broken window and the open front door. And they called my husband, and the police came, and the ambulance came, and I was rushed to the hospital, and I was surrounded by so many doctors and machines. And yet, I felt totally alone. A darkness closing in on me, a darkness that couldn't be held back despite the many bright lights around, a darkness that seemed terrifying, but strangely also comforting, like a black, numbing oblivion. Nevertheless, I kept resisting it with all my might, focusing on my unborn daughter, holding on to the invisible thread tying me to life, tying me to her. And then that thread was cut. "I'm sorry," the doctor said, his voice breaking. "There is no pulse or movement. We have to surgically remove the fetus. It didn't survive." A scream came out of me, a scream that was heard all over the hospital, a roar of pain and anger and rage and fury and frustration, a roar so frightening that everyone around me was startled. But the scariest thing was that even though it had come out of my mouth, I wasn't the one screaming. Someone else deep inside me was. And that's the last thing I remember before I gave in to whatever was already here.